Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Catfish Weekly. This is Catfish Weekly 32. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about safety and knowing your surroundings, using your surroundings and helping to be safe. Some other things just along the safety topic, basically. Um, we're also going to talk with our. I'm going to mention the featured anglers again. We're going to do our whiskerware giveaway about midway through the show. Um, and then I'll talk about some of the people that we got coming on here in the future and just our normal stuff. So, starting off with the safety topic, I know that Lyle, you did a tournament this weekend in Keokuk, Iowa, I believe, and I think you dealt with some safety issues that you might want to start us off on.
Yeah, we did. We had a really nice tournament up in Keokuk. We knew that there were storms in the area, and this is the part of that I really want to touch on. We left out with a light bit of rain and launched everybody off. And as Cindy and I was getting ready to leave, and John was with us, we had some guys come in that had boated quit them when they went out to get bait. So we took their entry and sent them on their way. So we probably left the boat ramp 30 minutes or so behind everyone else, and we got I'm going to guess 10 or 12 miles down the river, and we got hit by a storm of unbelievable proportions. We had 4 to 8 foot rollers coming over the front of the boat. Um, Driving rain, you couldn't hardly see where you was going. Of course, now uh, bear in mind we have a full enclosure on our boat, and the windshield shut, and you still can't see where you're going. Uh, Underneath the windshield where it closes in the center, there's a 2 foot spot square, and water was just gushing over there. And the reason why this is subject is important to me is the day before, Cindy and I had been out pre-fishing, and my bilge pump had quit working. And we just, it was raining a little bit then, so we just come on in, loaded the boat up, and we went to Dave's Marine right up the road there from Kick. I can't think of the name of the town, but anyhow, Mike Bean, really good guy. Uh, Called him up, told him what the deal was. Went up there, he fixed my sump pump, got us going. We're out of there. If we hadn't have got that fixed, we'd either had to come in or sunk the boat. I mean, water was coming over the front of that boat so fast that 800 gallon per hour pump just run. I left it on for probably an hour to pump water out of the boat. I mean, it was unbelievable how fast it was coming over the top of that boat, and we wasn't traveling real fast when it got bad. We was going slow, and I just want everybody to understand that if you're not sure of your surroundings, please make sure and make sure that your boats are fixed and ready for these situations. I talked today with uh, man, I'm having time with names tonight. Anyhow, he's got a 200 Pro Cat. They pulled in behind a island up there in a chute and stayed. We was there about 3 hours, and I was actually out seeing them come out of the chute, and they fished about 400 yards or 500 yards up from us. At the time, I didn't know who it was, uh, but he said that their sump pump run for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, just to get water out of the boat. Now, the people that won the boat or won the tournament, they went way on down below where the rest of us was at. The guy was in a deep V Tracker Targa, very safe boat. He cut right through that stuff. I mean, they had to fight the same elements that everybody else did, but that deep V boat versus what the other guy had in that Pro Cat, he couldn't keep water. We have a deep V, but we couldn't keep the water from coming over the front of the boat, and I guess Jason's Targa, he done really well with getting it down there because Troy had told me that he would ride them up and ride them down, and it was just coming over our boats fast, and there's no way you could do that. And safety needs to be a priority. People need to remember to put their life jackets on before you take off. at any tournament, but especially in conditions like this, and make sure that everything that needs to work on them boats work, whether sump pump, lights, everything there is. Uh, Make sure you have your life jackets. Make sure they're all uh, where you can get to them. If you don't have them on, make sure that they're on the back of your seat or something. And this weekend was an eye opener for me. And it's not that we haven't been in bad water before, because we have, but this thing come up in a matter of about 30 minutes and got this bad. The water was slick calm when we left, and like I say, 10 minutes down the river, it was not. It was just absolute farce. So that was my point that I wanted to get through, and you guys, I'm sure, have got some other things to talk about with safety and the safety factor, and I think we need to get it out and make people aware of what we got going.
Yeah, definitely checking your bilge pump. There's easy way to check that before you get out on the water. I mean, you can simply take a garden hose and pump a little bit of water in the back, hit that bilge pump, make sure it's working, especially before tournaments where you're expecting rain. Um, but no matter what, being on the water, rain or not, you need a working bilge pump. You
That's
never
right.
know. You never know what could happen where you could get some water up over the front of the boat or up over the back of the boat. Things happen. You're never totally in control out there. You got anything to add on that, Chuck?
No, I also carry a spare sump in my front storage compartment with a probably got a 6 foot hose on it, and I just put alligator clips on the end. In case I ever get in trouble, I can have a little bit of extra pumping capacity, and it's come in handy for a couple other people, but luckily I've never had to use it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's something I might do. I know I have spare pumps just sitting around the garage. Ain't no sense where I shouldn't have some alligator clips on them and throw a little hose on them. And I got compartments that I could throw it in, and it's there in case I ever do need it.
Yeah, and I use it also, after the tournament to help, pump my live well,
Drain faster.
yeah, drain faster because, where I have it, you can't drain it over the side of the boat because it's lower than the side. So I can only get it down to about 6 inches, and the rest you have to pump out before it's really light enough to be able to, pour it over the side. But that's what I have it in there for, and I just leave it in there all the time in case I ever need it.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the things that what we're talking about, the safety and the surroundings part of it. Um, there's a lot of different reasons where water can come in your boat. There's some people that really don't understand what they need to be doing on the water when they have waves coming at them. I've seen people turn their boat where the back end of their boat, is taking those waves, and that's exactly the opposite of what you need to do. You need the front of your boat breaking those waves, especially with like a deep V or um, one of those kinds of boats. That'll take that a lot better. I mean, but any kind of boat, you want to point the bow of the boat towards the waves, and if you can turn it that way, you're going to cut that wave, and it's going to help you with not rolling a boat over, not taking water over a side, not taking water over the transom. Um, there are some things that I believe they're called wave whackers that you could buy, and I believe that engine area between your engine and your transom, there's a big gap there that a lot of people, if they're backing up real quick or if they get a little bit of a wave, that's where that water most of the time comes up into that over that transom. And those wave whackers you can buy and install, they kind of help with that a little bit, and it just keeps a bunch of that water pushed back out. It's a soft plastic material, so it allows your engine to move, yet still holds that water out. Um, also with knowing your surroundings and things, using your common sense. Say, for instance, I've been in quite a few tournaments where you might have 100+ boats taking off in a slightly foggy morning, and it's a shotgun start, or even a 25, 30 boats at a time start. And in that scenario, you really got to know. You got to know what your boat's capable of, what it's not capable of, what's going on, what's smart to do, what's not smart to do. Um, those, anything where you don't really know what's going on, especially like I'm talking about a foggy situation. Um, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I've taken off and been flying through there, and trying to get to the front of those boats that are all making that wake, so you're not the one that's getting hit by them all. And the smart thing in that to do is to make sure you have your life jacket on. You want to make sure that you have your kill switch attached to your life jacket. You want to kind of like I look at it almost the way that you look at a yield sign when you're driving. At least the way I've always looked at a yield sign, which is drive it, take that turn or do it as fast as you can see. If you can see clearly, if you know nothing's coming, you can go faster. If you can't see very clearly, slow down a little bit. You might not be the first one in front of them people and stuff. Definitely, if you know that you're in a slower boat, or you just realize that you've got 40 boats in front of you that are putting off so much wake that you feel scared. What you need to do is just pull off to the side, get out of the way, let them boats get by, turn the front of your boat to all that wake, let them get by, and then just when you feel more comfortable, get out there, because no tournament, getting to that spot, none of that is worth somebody getting hurt or losing a life. Just take it easy, take it safe, enjoy yourself. That's what fishing, be it tournament fishing or not, it's all still about enjoyment. If it ain't about enjoyment, then I don't know what you're doing fishing.
You was talking about that fog, Chris. A couple of years ago, we had a tournament out of Louisiana, Missouri, and we launched everybody out, and everybody took off, and uh, probably a couple of miles upriver, it's just like the fog just moved in on us. You couldn't see hardly in front, the very front of your boat, and we're running wide open with several other boats, and everybody kind of shut down, and you could hear it. And Doug Rice was one of the boats that was near us, and you could hear him and Art talking in the boat, but you couldn't see them. And there was 3 or 4 other guys. Everybody's trying to figure out what they was going to do to keep from hitting everybody. We have GPS, of course, in our boat, and I'm trying to stay on the line so I know where I'm going. And it got so eerie with everybody talking around you. You didn't know whether you was going to run into them or they was going to run into you. We just made a direct left-hand turn, went to the island, anchored up next to the island. Didn't figure anybody would be over there, and we stayed until the fog lifted. Some of the others went to different banks and done that. Others just kept going, Again, this is a safety factor, and as much as I trust my GPS, especially coming in strange water at night, if I stay on that line, I'm convinced I'm going to be good, but I'm not 100% there completely foolproof. So you need to bear in mind if you're concerned about hitting something or somebody hitting you, you need to get out of the main line and get someplace where it's safe to set until you are more comfortable with it.
Yeah, the I've been in many times actually that same kind of fog that you're talking about, and there it is eerie. I've also I've done the following the line, and that's some of the newer fish finders and stuff, they're going to have that, and it's an absolutely awesome tool. I mean, to use, but there's still a lot of dangers to using that. I mean, there's the reason why you pulled over is because you're following that line. Any body of water, especially that's got barges on it, it's got lots of other boats. You're not going to see that barge. You're probably not going to hear it. You might be on that line, and if you're over in the deeper water or whatever, and he's going to have sonar, but that he can't turn that barge on a dime. So even if you're just putting along or whatever, you you run a chance of hitting a log in the water. You run a chance of, that's just running downstream. I mean, you might hit buoys. Yeah, definitely. I've came pretty close to some buoys before in that thick fog. Um, there's lots of hidden things in that fog, and I mean, I've done it. I've walked the line back to get back in time for a tournament and stuff, and sometimes really that's just not worth it. I mean, it being winning a couple $100, even if you were going to win a tournament or something, isn't worth the chance that you're taking in that, in a very dangerous situation. You need to realize, what really is more important, what's more valuable, um, taking that chance or not taking that chance. And the harder thing to do is not take that chance. I ain't gonna lie, it's hard to do, especially in tournament scenarios. But if it's the smartest thing to do and it's the best thing to do, nobody's gonna fault you for doing it. Nobody's gonna call you a wuss for, pulling over and staying safe.
No, if they do, it's too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I want to try to do a screen share here. See if I can get it to work.
You hit the screen share and then you hit the button, or it'll show you like a bunch of different screens. You should see the screen that you want to share.
Okay. Do you see the rollers coming out the back of my boat?
Yep.
I'm under Gunnersville Dam. You've been there, Chris. I was anchored down in 40,000 CFS current. The rollers are coming from the west. A big wind picked up. I was anchored down, and they were coming over the back of my boat. I got all my rods in. I was in a situation to where I was either I needed to cut my anchor rope or I needed to try to get my anchor back. So I fired my motor up. I tried to ease up river a little bit. A good one came over the back of my boat, and that's when I grabbed the old serrated knife and cut loose $50. But that right there can be a dangerous situation too. If you're in the current and you have wind blowing in the opposite direction, when it's blowing against that current, it can, especially if you're anchored down, it can start rolling very quick and get very dangerous. So
And
that's something you need to watch out for also.
and them John style boats, from what I've been told, it can only take two of those big waves to sink it. I mean, it doesn't take a ton. It can really it can be fast.
Yes, and these rollers in this picture right here, they don't look very big at all. And I think, matter of fact, the back of my boat is on the rise right now. So one's going under the back of my boat right now. They're very large. And it was only every third one that would actually break over the back of my boat. It wasn't, one would hit, raise my boat up. The second one would hit, raise my boat up. Then the third one would be off sequence just a little bit, and it would come over the back. And it was exactly every third one, and that's when, I decided to cut loose and get out of there. And it was still, at the same day, Jason Bridges was fishing right next to the dam. He was probably, he put his boat in 7 miles downriver, down at another campground, and it took him over an hour going downriver toward the rollers to get back to his trailer, hugging the bank that day.
Yeah.
So it was, it wasn't a very good day.
Which does bring up another point here. This last time, with what you were saying, him hugging the bank, and I was out on the Ohio River not this recent weekend, but I believe it was the weekend, or it might have been Thursday, I think. Yeah, Thursday. Thursday, I went down the Ohio River. I got out late. I didn't put gas in the boat. I was hoping that I had plenty in there. Went down river. I've got a beast of a trolling motor, so I mean, I wasn't super worried about it. But I've got the Tarova 80, the 24 volt, and with a 24-volt trolling motor, you got all kinds of battery life, and I can get 3.5 mile an hour with my trolling motor, and that's a deep V boat and it's heavy, so that's pretty good. But when I got out there, I realized that I had about a 2 mile an hour current, and I got downriver a good ways, and when it was about time to come back up and we were coming up to get some shad somewhere. I came back up, and it was I think 3 o'clock in the morning or so, and I made it about 3/4 of the way back to the boat ramp when my boat shut off, and I realized I was out of gas. So, in that situation, I dropped my trolling motor, immediately went to the bank that I felt was best being cut by the wind, and got right up on that bank. And I out in the middle of the river, I was hitting about, against that current and the wind and everything, I was hitting about point 0.4 to point 0.5 mile an hour, and I had a good ways to go. And when I got up to that bank on the far side, I jumped that up to about 1.8 mile an hour, almost 2 mile an hour at some points. I immediately, I rode that bank all the way until I basically hit the wind again, and then cut to the other side, cut straight across the river, hit the other side bank, and then, hit that 2 mile an hour mark again. And I did that, and I think it took me about 2 hours to get back to the ramp from where I was at. But in situations where you might be relying on trolling motor safety things, get to a bank. Couple different reasons. Number one is that you're going to have less of the current most of the time. Another being that if you do have any sort of failure, any sort of catastrophic failure, yeah, I'll get it out. Any sort of failure, anything like that, at least you're close to some land. You want to be as close to the land and dangerous situation as possible. Be able to get off of that boat, get over to the land, make sure that you're out of the danger zone, basically. I mean, being out in the middle of that river, and having something happen with no motor or anything like that, and then having, most of the time, most of us aren't wearing our life jackets the whole time. It's a long ways on the Ohio River to get even from the middle to one side. So.
Chris, Rob Clodfelder from Whiskerware Apparel has sent me a message here. Very useful site and some good reading. Anybody that's interested, it's called Rough Water Seamanship, Part 1, Boat Handling. This covers calculating how big a bilge pump you need and gear and all kinds of stuff. It's actually geared towards big water, but it's very useful because it has a lot of stuff like how to figure out what size pump you actually need, and that's at www.docksiderports.com. If anybody is interested, I'll be happy to put the link up for them. Just message me. And the other one that he's talking about would be Small Boat Safety at Sea and Boat Safety at Sea from the same website, www.docksiderreports.com. These kind of things like that is great information, and if I get a chance, I'll put this up on our website later for people to look at, because I feel like the 800 gallon per hour bilge pump that we had is very sufficient for our boat, but there's a lot of people that's boat come out of the factory with 300 and 500 gallon per hour pumps. And if you get 100 gallons of water in the bottom of that boat, it takes a while to get that stuff out of there.
Yes, and what will also come into play is your hose sizes, and
exactly.
You need to find out if you got 1/4 inch hose. If nothing over a 500 gallon per hour is going to be doing you any favor there anyway, and you really need something bigger than that, then you might just have to run a new bilge pump line with maybe a 1/4 or a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch.
I think 3/4, 7/8, and 1 inch is the ones that a lot of these things are using. I believe that mine is 1 inch with that bigger pump, but a lot of the smaller pumps only have 3/4 outlets. So,
Yeah.
It doesn't, like you say, it doesn't matter if you got a 1,600 gallon per hour pump if you can only move so much through the size hose you have. So make sure that you have the right size hose and a pump big enough to do the job so that you're safe. Safety is more important than any fishing tournament or anything else that I can imagine.
Correct. And also, you've got a switch bilge pump and a automatic bilge pump. And I have a reason why I switched to the automatic from the switch. Um, and that's from falling asleep night fishing with the live with the bait tank on, and a shad got caught in the overflow and flooded my boat, and you couldn't hear it until I got up, and I was sloshing around in my boat. But if I'd have stayed asleep, that could have been deadly. So immediately I went and got me an automatic pump and quit using shad.
We have a We have a couple suggestions on our online chat. Ron Workman suggests that you fill your boat up before you launch. That's a great idea, Ron. Keeps you from running out of gas, Chris.
Yeah.
Jason Huggins says keep a spare prop in your boat. He lost a prop 6 miles south of the ramp, no spare. That's another great idea. I know a lot of guys that don't want to put the prop in because it takes up that little bit of a space. Um, if another thing, if you have an older boat and it has motor with shear pins in it, just put a couple of shear pins in there. Another, Jason says he's broke paddles, and I have done the same thing. But if you have room for an extra prop and you have an extra prop, that's a great idea. Really, it only takes a second or two to change props, and if you have room, spare anchors and plenty of rope to let you out. There's a lot of variables like that people need to take into consideration.
Yeah, definitely. Like I believe we've had one of our first episodes was a little bit on the safety, and I think I mentioned, having, like Chuck was talking about, needing to cut his anchor rope. You know, when things like that are going on, the last thing you need to do is to be trying to find a knife when
Right.
you have that stuff happening, because you're thinking, like Chuck was thinking, I'm gonna see if I can't get this broke loose. He started his motor up. You got 14. It feels like 14 different things going on at once, and after when he figured out all else has failed, I need to cut that rope. It could have been disastrous if he didn't have a rope or a knife that he could find really quick. So I always say keep a knife up front by an anchor rope, just sitting around like where it's going to be. Um, you can make a little wooden thing or whatever that you can has slots in it that you could put knives in, and just have a few of those around the boat where you have knives always easily accessible and you know where they're going to be at, and you can grab one really quick.
Well, we keep one in the front, one in the back, and one to cut bait with. And once in a while, one of them the bait knife gets misplaced, and we grab one of the others, use it, but it goes back to either the back or front or wherever the bait thing is at. And one thing too, if you're worried, a sharp knife is by far the safest between that and a dull knife. But if you're in an instance in heavy current or something, and that rope is stretched tight, you'd be surprised how fast a dull knife will go through a rope because they're stretched so tight it just about anything will cut them to get them off, and that's what you want. You want it cut so where you can get out of there and get safe in a hurry.
Yes, I up in the front of my boat, I keep a small pair of pruning shears, the hand sized, and yeah, just you don't even know you cut it. You just give it a little bit of pressure, and it's snapped. I mean, it's gone.
That's something I hadn't thought about, but that actually is an excellent idea. And anybody that's done much outdoor stuff or hunting out of a tree stand or anything probably got a pair of them, and they probably need to replace them and get a new pair for their deer hunting so they can take the old ones and put them up in front of there and put a little bit of oil on them so they won't rust. So that is an excellent idea, Chuck.
Yeah, and you don't have that long, sharp knife hanging around, and you're tripping around the front of your boat anyway. Around, half the time you got your throw net laying there, you're throwing bait and throwing for shad or whatever, and you got anchor rope strung across and everything. So, I don't like having, a knife up front if I can help it, because there's already enough dangerous stuff up there anyway. So I just keep those little pruning shears stuck down in my little crack between my side well and my front deck, and they fit perfect. And I just keep them standing up right there where I can grab them, and they work out pretty good.
I believe I have. I don't know if they're pruning shears or if they're like a meat and bone cutting scissors type of thing. I believe they might have came in like an LEM outdoor deer processing kit or something, but they're heavy duty, and I keep them in my boat, and I would use them for actually taking and cutting like the top fin off a bluegill, or if I have a bullhead, I'll cut those two side fins off of them. And I sometimes will snip a little part of their tail, and I just do that sort of give them a different sort of a slower, um, you know, try to escape if they're trying to escape if something's chasing them or something. It sort of limits their ability to take off real quick, and it's not really. I mean, they're fish are going to eat them regardless if they have those spines or whatever, but it just slows them down in my opinion, and might even stress them out a little bit where they put off a scent that might be attracted. I'm not positive, but I seem to do it. But having some of those on your boat, you can use them for something like that, and for like what Chuck is saying, just being able to cut rope or whatever. They're good to have. Jason Huggins did say that in chat. He said PVC works good for a knife holder, no PVC pipe.
I can see where that would be good, and you probably won't get cut as long as your knife's down in it. That's an excellent idea also. You know, one of the things that I was going to touch on with you was talking there, Chris. You was talking about the way you cut um, the fins and horns and stuff off those little catfish. Uh, you know, if I heard you right, you wasn't sure that it helped or nothing, but you did it anyhow. Confidence in what you're doing plays a big part in whether if you don't believe that something's going to work for you, it probably isn't. So if you believe that cutting them off, and I do it too, uh, I also sometimes take live bait and will cut them in the side to make them bleed. Maybe it helps, maybe it don't. Makes me feel better about it. I have a lot of confidence in it, and it seems like if you believe in something, whether it be using shad or skipjack over one or the other, it's probably going to work better for you. And I learned that from watching one of the greats, Bill Dance. He used to say that all the time in a lot of his shows. That confidence is the best, one of the best things that you can have. And if you don't believe in what you're doing, you probably ought to be doing something different.
Correct. The reason I do it, because every time I see a fish, on a picture on Facebook, or any time that, has a fish in its mouth, they always, go for the bait fish head first. And, I trim the gills down, because I figure if they hit that fish in the wrong direction, and they know they got it in their mouth wrong, without those fins in the way, they're probably going to hold it in their mouth longer, and you'll have a better chance on setting the hook before they spit it out and try to go at it at a different angle.
Yeah.
Well, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Well, we're about midway through the show right now. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna talk about our featured anglers, and I'll go ahead and do the whiskerware giveaway, and then if we got a little bit more on the safety and stuff, we can go back and touch on that a little bit. But for our featured anglers, like I said, I'm doing about 4 or 5 of them. I'm trying to get caught up so that way I make sure that I get everybody mentioned on the show here. But for tonight, I have Derek Horrell, Major Brown, Chad Shemp, Ron Workman, and Anthony Finley. We thank you guys for posting on Catfish Weekly, posting the pictures and stuff. Please keep doing it. We really enjoy watching the pictures and the videos that you guys are posting up. So thank you very much for posting them. Keep doing it. Spread the word. Um, we appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're very glad we're still able to keep our group public and open. You know, everybody's keeping it nice and clean. There's no argument going on, and that's exactly how we want to keep it. And you know, we're glad it's staying that way, and we appreciate it.
You
And,
know,
and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, last week we talked about how, guys posting some pictures of kids and stuff, and you guys did that, and we really appreciate it. I mean, lets us know you're listening, you're watching the show, you're enjoying the same things we enjoy. So, keep posting pictures of the kids, and like I said, they weren't even all catfish, but we still like seeing them. So, thank you very much.
Absolutely, and some of the people that have been on the show, Janet and Big Fox, not too awful long ago, within the last week or so, they had pictures of their grandkids and posted pictures of that, and that's just outstanding. And people, as busy as we all are, that people still take the time to take their kids, their grandkids, out fishing, and we all have kids or grandkids or nieces and nephews, and they all like to go. So anytime you guys take them out and get a picture, please share it with us. We're all happy to see it, and all the viewers seem to enjoy it. And that's why we do this, is for entertainment and enjoyment for ourselves and others. Because, like I said, like we had said before, we're not making anything off this. We're not trying to make anything off this. We would at some point like to break even, but in the meantime, we'll keep doing it as we are, just to make sure that as long as everybody's happy and having a good time with it.
Yeah, and if we don't teach our kids, the things that we believe in, the things that we're enjoying, how to do it, what we're doing, and some of the the conservation efforts, things like that. If you talk to guys that are in car clubs and stuff right now, there's lots of areas of um, interest and things, especially with today's youth and stuff, where there's no youth coming in. All their members are all guys that are older, or women that are older, and really the youth just isn't there. And we don't want catfishing to be one of those things. We want the youth to continue on what we're doing, and be able to enjoy what we enjoy. So, anything you can do when you take a kid fishing, and you let them reel in a fish, most of the time that's all it takes. I mean, it's not hard. It's just getting them out on that water, having a fishing pole in their hands, and reeling a fish in.
That's correct. You gotta excuse me for just a second. I'm gonna have to take my phone downstairs, and I'll be right back. I got a message for Cindy that she needs to take care of. I'll be right back.
All right. While he's
Hey,
gone, go
hey,
ahead.
Chris, why don't you, while we have the opportunity, do a screen share of our Catfish Weekly website, and open up the forum, and show our audience, what we have to offer on there, and the different topics that we've had added.
All right, I can do that.
Because most people probably, they probably hadn't even seen it. It's just it's real small in our index, and it's gonna be great to get this forum going, and be able to share fishing reports. We have a place on there where you can recommend what you want to see on the show, different guests that you would like to see. There's all kind of little. We don't have it huge and have so many topics where you can't decide what to post on. We just about have the right amount.
Yep, right here, as you can see, this is the main Catfish Weekly site right here. Up in the top right here in this middle section, right below our banner, is our URLs to the Watch Us Live, upcoming shows, and about each one of us individually, giveaways. And then the very last button there, we got the forum. You click that, it's going to take you to our forum. You can see where we only have right now, we have news for Catfish Weekly news, contests and giveaways, questions for the show, suggestions for the show, Catfish Talk, which is we have a subject or a topic for charity and help needed, just general chat, stories, reports, and pictures, tournaments that are going on. You can post you can post tournaments that are going on just to let people know. And if you run tournaments or something like that, make sure you start putting them on there, and people will see that. And then down here we just got our video section, which I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that there or not, but right now we haven't got anything in it. So that's all it is. It's if you got an idea, like I said, for suggestions for the show, which could be a suggestion to add a forum. You can put that in there. We'll add a forum most likely for you, and we can talk about whatever we want to talk about in here. And it's a good thing. It's a good forum area to start to build up and be a part of. And we do have um, the super fan VIP. That's right here. This shows you. You'll get this super fan icon. Like whenever you post, it'll show up. Um, it's the $10 package. Basically, you'll get this icon. You'll get an extra entry for every contest that Catfish Weekly does for a year. That's going to be huge. That's going to be worth way more than it already is worth way more than $10. So for every contest we have, basically you'll get a bonus entry. You'll see that when we do the drawing here in a minute, you'll see Jason Malone has a bonus entry. He's a super fan. Um, and if you got if you want to donate or whatever, anything like that, we can get you set up to do that for the super fan and get you in for the extra bonuses for the contest. But that's our forum.
Hey,
You guys all, yep.
I'm pretty sure that you've seen it. Cindy and I fished the Fishing for Freedom tournament earlier this year, and it was videotaped through the serviceman that we took out. He's a pro staff for one of the shows that's broadcast on YouTube and other places, and that is an outstanding video. However, we got to do to get that posted on that video thing, I think would be a really good deal for people to watch. It starts out with a bunch of stuff about the Fishing for Freedom tournament and the military guys, and there's several minutes of that is very well worth watching. And then the last part of the show is us taking, his name was Lyle David Atkinson, and we took him fishing with us, and he's an outstanding young man, and we enjoyed having him in the boat with us. And he got to catch a fish, and we ended up third overall. I think there was 130 some boats in that tournament, and we was very proud to have him on the boat with us. So I think that would make a really good video to start out the video section with if we can figure out how to get it put on there.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and also on the forums, the sooner you sign up and pick your logon name, you can you can get the coolest logon names, Blue Cat Killer, and you can pick you up some good ones, whatever you want. So we hope it's a good success, and that'd be great if everybody would get on there and participate. A good place, we need to hear what y'all want. This is y'all's show. We're here to give y'all information about catfishing. If there's certain guest speakers you want to come on and us to talk to, give us some ideas and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, well, so I might just jump on there and steal the Midnight Hooker stuff. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and do this Whiskerware apparel giveaway. I'm gonna do a screen share again. All right, I believe everybody should be seeing what I'm looking at right now. Correct?
Yes.
All right. So for our giveaway this week, who all is still entered right now is Teresa and Dave, Melinda Jackson, Jason Malone, the Jason Malone Superfan entry, Ron Workman, John Harden, Scott Meyer, Seth McAllister, Jason Huggins, and Brown Catfishing. Same things, I'm going to randomize it 5 times. On that 5th time, whoever's name is up in that number 1 position is going to be our winner. So here we go. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. John Harden is the winner for this week's Whiskerware apparel.
Congratulations, John.
All right, John.
All right. So now going on back onto the safety and surrounding topic. Do you guys have anything else that you want to throw in as far as some other safety things that might be relevant for on the boat?
Yeah, we still got a little bit of summertime left here, and a little bit of night fishing going on. And we've talked before about trying to get a barge captain on here, and talk about communication with boats, and all that different type of stuff. But barge is really important. They have the right of way, and it can be very dangerous. They're very silent. If you're planning on getting on the edge of the river channel and putting your little jingle bells out and trying to get you a little nap in on one of these major rivers, it could be a big mistake. So, um, y'all watch out when y'all are out on these major rivers for these barges. They're, just their wakes. A lot of times, if you're close enough, can swamp, smaller giant boats. So,
I
just be
believe
aware that they're out there and be careful.
I believe one of the scary and I have a big deep V boat. I believe I was in my Lund, and I think it's the only time that probably the second time that I've ever been scared on the Ohio River. I mean, I know the Ohio River is nothing like what they have on the Mississippi and the Missouri and stuff, and that's just something that I'd have to get used to being on that body of water. But being on the Ohio River, one of the scariest times I've ever had was when one of them empty tugboats, not pushing any barges, and I believe I was in the Lawrenceburg area, right out of Tanner's Creek, and there's one of the power factories there, power companies that's right on the river, and I was, just motoring along right along the side there, looking for a place to fish, and one of them tugboats, not pushing any barges, came flying. And I mean, those little things, I didn't realize they could go that fast, but when they do that, they put off an unbelievable amount of wake. I mean, I had my boat almost completely sideways, and I was just holding on for dear life. And that kind of stuff, I've seen them do it before where they're out on the river and they're not pushing any barges, and them little things will be booking it, and they're going to put off way more wake than what the barges put off.
Yeah,
So
that is a fact, and there's a lot of places on these rivers that is I'm not going to say unsafe, but they bear a great deal of respect. There was a bad accident last year at Alton, below the Alton Dam. Uh, One of our friends ended up losing his life down there. Uh, and I'm not sure anybody knows exactly yet what's happened or if the reports are all done and in, but there's been some things like that, and we've fished down there anchored up, and when you're sitting there and you've got 3 to 5, 6 mile an hour current going by you, making the noise it makes, and some of you have the ball game listening on the radio or whatever, them barges will sneak right up on you before you know it, and so, some of them are pretty nice and some of them aren't. When we get back to the part about getting a riverboat captain on here, I've talked with Ricky Bracken, and he'll be glad to do the show. It's just getting him in off of the barge when he can take time out. Ricky has done seminars for us at some of our year-end meetings where we pass out prizes and stuff for Twisted Cat Outdoors, and he is very knowledgeable. He operates the big barges that go from St. Louis and below, and you know he's run the smaller ones. He's very, very up to speed with rules and regulations and conservation and what to do and what not to do. And he'll be excellent once we get a time when he's going to be in on a Monday, and we can get him on here. You'll enjoy visiting with Ricky. He's an outstanding person, and him and Ryan Casey opened up the guide service that Ryan now runs, Show Me Catfishing, and Ricky's just a really nice guy, and he'll be able to answer any question that you guys have about barges and safety and how to get a hold of them and different things. He'll have the answers that you need. So as soon as we can get him in and get him on where we can have a date where it's convenient for everybody, it'll make a great show.
Yeah, I've always, I mean, since I've been on the Ohio River a lot here in the past, I guess 4 or 5 years, I've I've really been sort of touting it to anybody on the boat with me. You'll hear me say it. Is there's been quite a few times where I'd be going down the river and I don't have the greatest night vision. I don't think a lot of people do. And those barges being as wide as they are and as big as they are, they have just basically one tiny little green light, one tiny little red light on each corner, and sometimes there's a flashing yellow light in the middle. And I mean, it's not a big flashing yellow light. It's not, real noticeable. It's very, very, like, it could look like something on each bank. And that's just what it'll look. It could look like a flashing light on this bank and a little flashing light on this bank. And if you're sitting in and you're not sitting in that right and you're just motoring down river, the whole front of that barge is black. So during the night, I've always said with the LEDs and stuff that we have today, I think the front of them barges should be lit up a little better.
I agree. And Jason had just mentioned about the marine two-way marine radios. Realistically, and he is correct, that is, it's not a law, it's not something that is mandatory in any sense of the word, but it should be in the St. Louis area or any area that has that type of barge traffic. Not only are they a safety factor, you can use them things to contact barges if you're anchored up and one's coming up the river and they're in a bend and it looks like they're coming at you, and maybe they are and maybe they're not. You can holler at them and say, hey, are we in your way, in time to get out of the way. I mean, they are a great deal. We keep saying that Cindy and I do that we're going to get one, and we are going to get one. We're going to have one this year. In fact, I'm probably going to go ahead and order it, and you can buy them very reasonably at different stores and marinas. You can also get them off of eBay pretty reasonable. And you're correct, Jason. At night in that area or any area with that much barge traffic, it's a must. You really need to have them. You'll be amazed at how convenient they are once you do have them. Say you're coming up to a lock and dam and you want to lock through, you can call ahead and say, hey, I'm there, or how long is it going to be before I can get locked through, and them guys will answer your questions. And like I say, if you're fishing and it looks like you're going to get hit, you could say, hey, buddy, I'm sitting out here in this fishing boat. Am I in your way? Do I need to move? And they'll tell you. And most of those guys are very nice and friendly to deal with. Now, there's some that's not. I'm not going to say that isn't the fact, because some of them, they don't care if you're out there or not. But for the most part, they are very astute and will treat you with the respect you give them.
I would say a good idea, if you don't have the two-way radio and you're sitting out and you feel like you possibly are in the way, a good indication that you're in his way and he's far, and he might be a little ways away, but he'll start spotlighting you and he won't take his spotlight off of you. If he's doing that, he might be telling you you're in the way, you need to move.
Yes, most of the time you're right.
Yeah, and he's anywhere between them channel markers from the left to the right, and usually they're not going to turn any. They're going to take that straight line and they're going to cut corners. So most places that we like to fish, being catfishermen, that's usually in their line, because they're going to cut those corners, and they're going to, the closest from point A to point B is the straight line. So that's what they do. So that's.
And another thing on them markers, very, very, very rarely will you ever see one out of the main channel away from them. They cannot take the chance of beaching that barge up on. So they're going to be between those buoy markers, and if you're out away from them, you're not. I'm not going to say you're not going to get hit, but the chances are very slim that they'll be up there where you're at. But if you are between those buoy markers, there will always be that risk. and that's when it's time to ask them and say, hey, am I in your way, or are you coming here? Do I need to move, or whatever the case might be, and that's how you find out.
The other good thing to know is before you go and you anchor up on a spot, especially sitting like on the right before a bend. Um, there it could be a narrow stretch of river. I mean, it might be a big river, but for whatever reason, that bend might be on a narrow part of it. And when you start going across that water, you might realize that the channel, basically the 30-foot plus of water, is only so wide, and it might come right up to the bank, whereas the whole other side of that river might be 15 foot, and that barge is not going to go in that 15 foot of water. So when he hits that channel, believe it or not, I've seen them do this. They can have that tugboat on a turn in a bend 5 foot off of that bank. And
Oh,
and I was impressed. I seen that, and I thought, well, man, I'm glad I didn't try to go get off, get out of his way and go to that bank right there. I knew there was shallow water over on the other side, and I knew he wasn't going to that water, so I went to the shallow side rather than the closest part, which was that deeper water right on the bank. Because if I would have sat right there, I'm pretty sure he would have knocked my boat over with the way he came through that bend. So know the water area, know what kind of depth. Most barges ain't going to go into 15 foot of water or less. So, at least around here, I mean, if you actually ever look at the barges that are sitting up out of water, I've seen them where they have foot markers on the front of them, and it'll show that it's, when there's nothing in it and it's sitting up out of the water, it's probably still 6 foot underwater, and there's 15 to 20 foot, it looks like, up above it. So, I mean, they need a good deal of water especially when they're loaded, but they're not going to be in shallow water. So if you can get shallow water to be out of their way, that's always going to be your best bet normally.
Absolutely.
But I know early in the year when we talked about safety, I talked a little bit about, I think there was one of the big name guys in catfishing had fell off of his front of his boat. He had slipped, and I talked about there was a product that it was like a almost a life jacket, but it was just a jacket. It was a regular jacket that you wore, but it was a floating jacket. I don't remember the name of the company. You can always go back to, I believe. What's that?
Is it a clam, ice clam, something like that?
I don't remember. I guess it was in one of our first 4 or 5 episodes. I know you can go back and look it up. But another thing I was going to say, along to do with that, basically for safety, keeping your boats organized, keeping stuff out of the way. There's many times where you have your anchor and you pull it up and you just set it down the middle up there, and you don't think about it, but yet when you go up there to grab a net or go up there to put the trolling motor down, you trip over that anchor, and you could very easily just go right into the water. So if you can, try to put it up on the side somewhere, make sure stuff is out of the way, and you don't have trip hazards on the front of your boat, on the deck, even on the back end area. The more organized and clean your boat is, the better you're going to be in a lot of different ways. So
here's one other thing I wanted to touch on the safety factor, and I think that's it for me on that. In our tournament this past weekend, I've added a large toolbox as a live well in the boat, and thanks to Brent Riddle, we got set up with a pump pumping in and a pump pumping out, where we can, and on automatic timers where we can set it up to where it runs and shuts off automatically and maintains the correct water level, and it changes the water out automatically, so you don't have to worry about that. We also have a large cooler, probably 2 foot or so long by 12 to 15 inches wide and about 12 to 15 inches tall. And that's what we keep our bait in, froze bait or fresh bait on ice or whatever it is. And for years I've attached that to the back part of the boat. In that storm that we was in the other day, that cooler bumped one of those switches for that live well pump and turned it on. And in the midst of everything else, that live well filled up and was not pumping out. And when I discovered that, of course, we immediately turned on the other pump and pumped it out. You have to watch things. As safe as I thought that was, there will never be anything that I can put on that side that will be remotely close to those switches. When they was installed, I thought they was completely out of the way to where we'd never have an issue with that. When you get in a storm of the magnitude we was in the other day with the wind and the big waves coming over the front of the boat, things happen, and that's when you find out that the best laid plans don't always pan out. So bear in mind when you're rigging your boat or setting up things or changing stuff to take in consideration for things happening that you're not expecting to happen, as it did to us this weekend. And now I know that that's never going to be set in that spot where it's been for years, but we will move it and it will be in a different place where nothing can ever contact those switches in rough water and turn them on and fill that live well up again.
Okay. Are you guys ready for closing statements and things?
Yeah.
You got anything else, Chuck?
No, I'm good.
All right, we'll go ahead and start us off on our closing statements.
Okay, Alabama Catfish Trail. We're going to have a tournament here on September 6th on Lake Wheeler. Looks like the big blue cats are starting to hit pretty good. The fall's coming in. We're going to launch about 7 a.m. Weigh-ins at 3. It's in at Ingalls Harbor out of Decatur. It's a very nice state-of-the-art boat ramp. It's got everything. So if anybody wants to make a trip down and fish with us, all the information you need is on Alabama Catfish Trail page. We got the rules, entry fees, all that on there. Check it out and come join us. That's all I got, Chris.
All right, Lyle?
Just quick thing right quick. Keokuk Iowa tournament last weekend. You know, people think that if you don't get below, or if you're not fishing from the Alton Dam on the Mississippi River and below, that you can't catch big fish. The 3-fish weigh-in was just over 80 pounds up there. We had a really good turnout in the conditions that we had. A lot of good sponsors and a lot of added money. First place went to Troy Hansen, Amy Smith, and Jason Burgess. They won $2,000 for first place and $230 for big fish. Made a pretty good payout. These guys worked really hard at getting that done, so I want to congratulate them right quick. Our next Twisted Cat Outdoor Tournament will be the 20th of September in Quincy, Illinois. I think I've mentioned this a time or two before. That's an outstanding group of people where we have this tournament. They let us go up there every year, and we always have a blast. They have a really good place to eat there. If anybody wants to come up the Friday night, we're usually there, and a bunch of us in there eating, and we might even have an adult beverage or two. It's a fun tournament. There is no extra money on that tournament, but there is just a lot of fun, and usually there's some great fish caught up there. The other thing that I wanted to mention was the Twisted Cat Outdoor year-end tournament this year will be held in Keokuk, Iowa, where we just got done being. I can't imagine us having 2 crappy days like that in a row with the weather, but it will be a 2-day tournament, the 25th and 26th of October. It should be after all the rest of the major tournaments are done, so we're looking forward to getting everybody down there. Anybody that's fished a Twisted Cat Outdoor Tournament is already qualified this year to be in it. If you have not and you want to be in there to fish it, it will be double entry fee to get in with $5,000 guaranteed first place to win. So double entry fee shouldn't be a problem if you're interested in winning some big money. This is also going to be a 100% payback tournament. So on top of the $5,000 to win, there's going to be a lot of money in at least the first 5 places. Don't forget that we've got the Monsters of the Ohio coming up. You guys need to support Aaron Wheatley. He's done an outstanding job for the last few years. We're all going to be down there. Hope that we can all get together and everybody drop in and say howdy, and we're just going to have a good time. I think that's it for me, Chris.
All right, you said double entry. What would that make your entry on a double entry?
We're going to get that straightened out. I've got to get all that stuff posted. It's not everything's not finalized with the sponsors.
Okay.
It will be done this week or probably next week. It's probably going to be $125, $150. I'm guessing 125. It's not set in stone yet, but for 5,000 to win, that's still a pretty reasonable amount of money for that kind of payout.
So 125 is double, or 250 would be the double?
No, if it's 125, it would be 250 to get in.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. For my closing statements, I want to let everybody know that we still do have the advertising on the website. There's a couple blocks there. We have the $50 for 6 months and $30 for 3 months. If you have any sort of catfish-related business or anything that you feel, the people who are logging on would benefit by seeing your advertisement, get a hold of us. It's pretty cheap advertising. If you want to talk numbers, we can give you the numbers on, what kind of traffic we're getting and all that kind of stuff. We can also help you get a advertisement made up to put in there if you don't already have one. We already went through and talked about the forums a little bit, so if you can, register for those. We do know that, Facebook is out there. We've heard of it. We have that too, but the forums just gives us a little different of an option to be able to communicate with everybody. It's a little easier to find information that doesn't get buried or overturned by all the new posts and everything like that. So that's the reason why we did it. We do want to thank everybody that's logging into the chat and chatting with us and bearing with us through the change. We're just about a year old. We're not quite there yet, but we got a lot of things that we're working through and trying, with the different chats, and we're figuring out what's working and what's not. And I'm sure there's going to be more change to come, but we're just trying to make it the best show we can. So we appreciate putting up with all that.
Chris?
Yep.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Go ahead.
Jason just reminded me, and I had forgot, Columbia Bottom, September 20th. Dennis, and I can't think of his last name right now, the guy that lost his life last year below the Alton Dam, they held a memorial tournament for him last year. They are also holding one for him September the 20th down there. You can get online and find out some of that information. I do not have it. I will have it for the next week's show. So some of you that was familiar with Dennis, I think his name was Smoking Barrels on several of the websites, and we'll try to get that information and have it up here because it's for a really good cause for the friends and family and people that's involved with that. And anybody that's interested in fishing that, it would be worth your time to be there.
All right, good deal. Yeah, we want to let everybody know that even though each one of us individually have our own sponsors, and they could be different sponsors between us, the show itself doesn't have a specific sponsor or company that is dictating what we're talking about, where we're going, who we're having on, any of that stuff. It's all just 3 different guys talking catfishing and getting whoever we can get on here to talk with us and help everybody learn and have a good time and just really just have spread the joy of catfishing around to whoever wants to take it in. So we appreciate it. We really also want to reiterate the safety fact that we had tonight. We're probably going to do a lot more episodes on safety. It's a big thing. It's important. So please be safe on the water. Please be safe when you're out there, even off the water. There's lots of different things pulling boats. There's lots of safety topics that we're going to have to talk about. So just remember to keep safe, and that's the most important thing. Besides that, I believe the next ICA tournament is an open. That's a Leavenworth tournament, and that's this Saturday. I believe it's an overnight tournament, so it'll be Saturday at 7 6:30, I think, to 7:30 in the morning on Sunday. You can find more information on their website. But I believe that's all I have. So I want to thank again everybody for watching. Thank our sponsors, Whiskerware Apparel, for doing the giveaway that they're doing. And I thank each one of our sponsors individually and the guests that we have on the show and the viewers and everything like that. So as I say again, everybody, stay out of my spot.